How's it going, my good people out there? So here's another episode of my movie review series. And with me, I talk about movies. Sometimes I talk about new movies. I may talk about current stuff that's hot right now. But a lot of times, I like to go back and just talk about obscure movies that came back a while back, cult classics. That people may not be up on. Because to me, that's better because you got a million people talking about the stuff that just came out a week ago. So I want to give a different spin, a different perspective when I do my movie reviews. And so with this one, we're gonna be talking about The Video Dead. Now, The Video Dead was a movie that came out back in I think 87, 88. I wasn't really up on it back then because it was just super independent. But during the years, going into Blockbuster and other stuff like that, I might see it. And the artwork and the poster always looked cool to me with the ghoul zombie breaking out of the TV, coming into the living room. So that always look cool. So I would see this over the years. I started seeing it on Netflix. And so one day, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I seen it for the first time. And, it was something that I always liked. I always thought it was cool. And, I seen it again recently. So to jump into it, the plot is it starts off when this old school knockoff delivery company, they deliver this TV or this crate to this guy's house. And the guy's arguing with him like, hey, I didn't order this, so this is not mine. But they insist. They say, hey, this is the address we got. So here it is. So the guy like, yeah, okay. He takes this crate into his house. Big old crate. I don't know, looked like a dang blasted. I don't know, anything could have been in that thing. 'Cause that thing was secured. Heavy duty. So anyway, he go into the, I think he put it in the kitchen or something like that. He breaks it open, sees a bunch of. But now this part is strange because they did all this trouble to put this thing in a wooden crate, but they insulated with just a bunch of newspaper, no bubble wrap or anything like that. Just a bunch of newspaper. We gonna ball up a bunch of newspaper, and we gonna put this thing in here. So in this gigantic crate, he pulls out this jacked up looking, maybe 20-inch, beat up black and white TV, beat up black and white TV with the old school rabbit ears, all that good stuff. So he set it up. I'm trying to think, did he plug it in? So yeah, he plug it in. He don't turn it on. He just plug it in. Goes back to his work. He's working. He starts hearing something. Then he go in there's TV. TV's playing some kind of knockoff looking Living Dead, not a Living Dead type movie. All that good stuff. He turns it off, goes back to work. Then this thing over the next few minutes with a TV keep coming on, he keep turning it off. Then finally he just pulls the plug. He pulls the plug. Then when he's sleeping during night, it comes on again. So he's asleep and he don't hear that it's on. So the TV is playing. Knockoff, not a Living Dead movie is playing on the TV. Then suddenly one of the zombies stop and they notice the fourth wall. The fourth wall would be the wall where the viewer is watching. So he kind of presses up against the glass, and just a bunch of electricity and smoke start happening. Then they cut to the morning. Delivery people come back. Yeah, we made a mistake. We sent this to the wrong house. Right? So they knock on the door. The door just opens. And the guy they delivered the TV to was all tied up, jacked up. Neck was broke. Looked like they put makeup on him. And a clown hat. So now we jump to like the main plot. And the main plot, focus on like two teenagers. Their parents are like on a vacation in Europe, and they moving into this neighborhood. Getting everything set up. With the house and stuff. Young lady, young, teenage boy, around 16, 18 years old. I think the girl is a couple of years younger than the boy. And, so they setting up in this house. But it happens to be the house that the guy who got killed, he lived in that house. So also it's a time delay. So by the time the, young man and young lady get there moving in, it's 3 months. 3 months had passed by, right? So when the teenage boy, when he's by himself, he started, hearing sounds. And he goes up into the attic. So the killer TV that killed the guy who previously lived in the house, somehow, I guess the people who moved out all this stuff, they neglected to take the TV, because I guess they feel this TV is so beat up and raggedy, even back in the late 80s standards. It's, nobody ain't wanted this. So they threw it up into the attic. He see it, he bring it down. He puts it in his room. But before, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but before that though, when he first get there, he comes across a young lady all dressed up in preppy 80s stuff. That preppy look, walking a little dog that she calls Chocolate. He kind of like, hey, I'm new to the neighborhood. Let me come, let me talk to you for a minute. Blah, blah, blah. He invites her into the house. He try to entertain her. It's like, right now we don't have really anything else but water, but we can have some water. We can have 2 glasses of water, and we can just, chop it up like that. He's not saying that, of course, but, he's talking in, I guess, the regular 80s teenage vernacular of that time. So anyway, at some point, the little dog she was walking, and she was actually walking it for some of her neighbors, it runs out into the forest. And they go chasing after the dog. And what happens is that the actual dog encounters one of the zombies that came out of the TV 3 months ago. Now, why the zombies are just waiting out in the forest, not doing nothing, that's beyond me. So that part kind of didn't make any sense. It's like they got out, they killed this one guy, so they're not gonna start killing again till like 3 months. And so it actually didn't kill the dog. So when they got to it, they assumed the dog died of a heart attack. And she was like, "Hey, what I'm gonna do?" Hey, and the guy said to her, he said, "Hey, just tell him that you were playing toss the ball with the dog, and the dog accidentally swallowed the dog and died." You said, "That'll work." So anyway, as they doing all this talking, right, you see one of the zombies looking at him in the back, not that far away. So again, it's like, okay, you really don't understand the formula for how this mechanism work on, when they kill people and why, because he could have killed them like right then and there, but for some reason he don't. So they go back. She goes home. He goes home. So the next thing, and so right now, it mainly focuses on the young teenage boy, not really focusing on his sister because she's in there, actually like setting up the house. So they mainly show her from that standpoint. They're not really focusing on her as being part of the adventure. So the young man, he goes upstairs. He turns on the beat up TV. He's out there turning on the beat up TV. So what he sees on the beat up TV, he sees this blonde haired mysterious woman pop up on his hand, and she's talking, and then it seems as though she's talking to him. And he's not really tripping because he figured out, I'm sitting up here smoking weed. I got me some really good weed. So it's making me think this lady on the TV is talking to me. But suddenly, she like appears in the room. And he like, wow, she appears in the room. Then she disrobes herself. Then she started walking to him. And, seems to entangle and starts hugging him. And for a few moments, it looks like she's doing that, but then suddenly she appears back into the TV and start laughing. But then just then, and just then from the left side of her, old white dude comes in with a knife and murders her and startles the boy. And he tells the boy, "Hey, you're in danger. Take this TV down into the basement. Put a mirror in front of it, tape it, and don't mess with it again." So he goes to do that, and as he's doing it, sure enough, hands and monsters start trying to come out of the TV, but he successfully, does what the guy tells him to do. He goes upstairs. So then just then, some, Southern guy, and it's a little bit too late, he comes, "Hey, you guys notice anything strange? There's a strange TV. I'm from the Institute of whatever, so I come to pick it up." Now, again, stuff been happening with this TV for like over 3 or 4 months. It's like, okay, why do you decide just to come now? Now we understand that news floats a little bit slower in the 1980s. They're not living in the information superhighway like we are, but still, you could have found out about this. Let's give you at least 2 or 3 weeks. So maybe like the first month of when it happens, but 3 months later. So the girl is skeptical because up until this point, this is the strangest thing she's seen about this. He's like, "Nah, we don't know what you're talking about. We ain't buying what you're selling." So they kind of like shut the door on them. In that situation. So now during the day, now after 3 months, the zombies who got out of the TV initially decides to come into this town and start going into people's houses, killing people. And again, why they wait 90 days, 3 months to start doing that? That part don't make any sense, but the way they kill people is kind of entertaining because these zombies, they're not the even though they look like the Night of the Living Dead style zombies, they'll kill you by strangling you and stabbing you in other ways, even shooting you with a gun. At some point, one of the zombies dumps a lady head first into a washing machine, kills her that way. Another one strangles this zombie to death. So yeah, so they wreak havoc. So they wreak havoc with the people in this town. And but see that part, the teenage girl, I wish they knew their name, but the names is so undescriptive in this movie. And also another thing, very independent cast. So, most of the people you see in this movie, you don't see them again in anything else. So anyway, so the brother and sister and the girl who walked the dog, they together and stuff like that. They encounter the zombies, and at that point they know it's serious. They know it's serious at that point, and actually, one of them gets in, and they kidnap the dog walker girl and take her away. So at that point, you got the guy coming from the institute looking for the TV again. At that point, they let him in, and they start believing what he tells them. So he said, hey, okay, the first thing we got to do to be protected, we got to, the thing he don't tell them is how this TV works. Why does it allow for the horror movies that are playing on the TV? How can the characters just step out of the TV? He don't explain that part, but he explained that he works for this institute, and he got to get this TV back. And since this thing are out here, I can tell you how we got to deal with them. First of all, we got to put mirrors around all the doors and stuff like that, because they don't like seeing their reflection in the mirror. That's one thing they don't like. And so another thing they don't like to be reminded that they're dead. So the more you can convince them that they're still alive, they'll try to act normal. And then when you do kill them, they'll think that they're dead, because apparently you really can't kill them. Now he didn't explain, like, well, what if you pour gasoline on them and burn them to ashes? So I'm sure that would work. But other than that, if you stab them or you shoot them or anything like that, if you can convince them that they can die, then they'll stay dead. Right? So they secure the house, and they leave the sister in the house. So the young man goes off with the guy from the institute to go find the girl. And so they go and they devise a plan where they use the young man as bait. And so when the zombies get around him, the guy from the institute will shoot him with arrows. And it works for a while, but then, like he said, if they're not buying into the fact that they're not dead and this stuff can't hurt them, it's not going to have any effect, because they do that and they make them think they dead for a while, but eventually they come back and they kind of like lose track of everything, because they let one of the zombies, the bridesmaid who dressed as the bridesmaid, the dead bridesmaid, somehow she gets the chainsaw that they were using, and she kills the guy from the institute with the chainsaw. So at this point, the young man is still alive. So he has a showdown with him in the barn. And so also to take note, the people who they kill don't reanimate. So once they kill a regular human being in this movie, the human being stays dead. They don't turn into The Walking Dead or a zombie. They stay dead. So once you're a human being and you get killed, you dead. So he has a showdown with him in his tool shed in the middle of the woods. And he finds that the dog walker girlfriend, or the girl he wanted to be his girlfriend, she already dead. They already, killed her. And so he has a showdown with the bridesmaid zombie. And he just takes charge and just runs up to her, chops her head off, but at the same time, she kills him with a chainsaw. So at this point, the zombies, they go back to the house where his sister is, and they can't get in because she has the mirrors outside on the door, because again, in this film, one of the rules is that they don't like seeing their reflection. But then she's like, well, dang, I can't just stay up in here like that. I gotta do something. So she also remembers the guy saying that if you can convince them that they're alive, they're gonna start acting like they're alive. So she invites them into the house, start giving them dinner, start pouring them drinks. They want to play music and they want to dance. So when they start doing that and they want to dance, she like, hey, because she remembers the TV is downstairs. Now, mind you, the young man during the film never told her that the TV is downstairs, but somehow she knows that it's downstairs. So she's like, hey, yeah, y'all want to dance. There's not enough room to dance here, but we can dance downstairs in the basement. So she gets them all into the basement and start playing the music. And she takes the mirror off the TV, and the TV starts working again, and it starts sucking them back into the TV, and she runs upstairs and she slams the door and locks the basement. And so the next thing we see her in a hospital. And finally, the parents, who we never seen at this point because they've been away in Europe, they come to the hospital and visit her, and they like, hey, honey, how you doing? We know you had a hard time, but we brought something for you. So they bring in the TV and they plug it up, and she starts screaming, oh no, and it starts working again. So I don't know why at that point she don't get up and because she knows what to do now, but apparently she's gonna sit up there and just watch them break the fourth wall again and come kill her, and that's how the movie ends. And again, it's a pretty cool movie because, like I said, they do their own kind of take on the zombie genre, and I like the fact that the theme that they took, that hey, we got this magical TV that apparently the monsters on screen, when they notice the fourth wall, they can come in and break it. So I like that theme, and I like the way they use the zombies. And again, this when you watch the movie, it looks pretty good, but it's obviously a movie in which they didn't have the biggest budget. You can tell by that immediately. It was entertaining. Some of the plot inconsistencies, like, okay, well, why did it take them 3 months after they killed the first guy to start killing again? Why did it take 3 months for the guy from the Institute to find the house? So you have that, but other than that, it's a pretty entertaining movie. Now it's not scary, it's more comical. And I think that's kind of the way the people who made the movie, they wanted it to be kind of comical. and just using a funny, ingenious take from the zombie genre, and the fact that it just wasn't a ooh, I want to get your brains and that sort of thing. They let zombies kill people in multiple ways. So it's a pretty good movie. So when you have a chance, check out the Video Dead. All right, y'all. Till next time, peace.